that's even
I got like 3 more. I've got just, well, it's just to add one thing to it. Instead of just if you want to do it, whatever. Because, something about having the standard of how the streets are prepared. I think kind of like you want to add that. It shows we're all. I would agree. 100%. Kind of like the street thing says how I had initially started with an 18-page document I sent in, and I thought, let that after we do this, then I do want us to sit down and actually, because I'm going to be forced to fund it instead of, I may not be here in 6 months. I'm saying if we adopt a standard for the streets are there, because too oftentimes it goes paved. That's nice for a year, and then it's garbage.
Is it on?
Yep.
Good evening. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Mayor and Aldermen January the 22nd. This time we have a public hearing on a request to rezone property on 600 East Decker Street from the General Commercial C2 to Neighborhood Commercial C3. Does anyone like to speak on that rezoning? Now we'll close the public hearing. Call to order the regular meeting for the Mayor and Aldermen. This time is Ms. Reverend Plunk issue. Ms. Plunk, Reverend Plunk, would you please lead us in the invocation and then in the pledge of allegiance? Please stand.
Father God, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for another opportunity to come and have a meeting about this city. We thank you, God, for allowing us the opportunity to represent your people and your city. We thank you for all things, and we ask you to help us to represent you well, to make decisions concerning your people, and for the betterment of this state. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Reverend Plunk. I'd like the city recorder to please call the roll.
Almacher.
Here.
Berry.
Here.
Glick.
Here.
Noes.
Here.
Mann.
Here.
Mathis.
Here.
Wilson.
Present.
We have a quorum. We have 7 present. So tonight we have, certainly we have 2 distinguished young people with us tonight. Mr. Lindsay Evie. Excuse me, that's Miss Evie. Excuse me, Ms. Lindsay, I apologize. And Mr. Edward Henry. Welcome tonight. And at this time, in order to speed things along this evening, I'd like to present each of you with your certificate for being honorary alderman, and to get a picture recording this occasion. If you'd stand over at the flag, I'd appreciate it. Thank you for being with us this evening. We'll be asking you to present some of your things that you're doing at school just a little bit later in the program. is an honor to have our honorary alderman back with us in these meetings. At this time, we don't have any specific other proclamations or awards tonight. I will apologize for my voice tonight. When we come to the agenda, I'll be asking the city recorder to read the captions, so please bear with me. It's nothing other than just loss of voice. So at this time, we'll go to comments from citizens. Are there any citizens who would like to address the board on anything under the purview of the board? If so, you'll be invited to speak for up to 3 minutes. Please come forward, state your name and address. Seeing none, we'll move right on into the agenda for tonight. The first thing I'd like to do is get the approval of the agenda. Need a motion to approve the agenda. Motion from Mann, seconded by Wilson. Any questions about the agenda? Now we vote on the approval of the agenda. The agenda is approved 7-0. Then tonight we'll start with reports from our alderman. We'll start on with Ms. Wilson, Mr. Alderman Wilson.
Thanks, Mayor. I'll pass.
Man.
I don't have anything. I do want to take a minute to thank all our city employees and city staff, our public works folks for the great job that they've done over the past week, how tirelessly they've worked out in this terrible weather, and we really appreciate all you and what you do.
Thank you. Alderman Mathis.
No report?
Alderman Berry. Where'd they come from?
No report, but I also want to say thank you to the city staff. I mean, everybody, public works, fire, police, everyone. And I know some people still had to come into the office here. Recreation, absolutely. I mean, I'm sure you're going to talk about it a little bit more, but we do truly appreciate it. Thank you. I have no report.
Mayor Pro Tem Humacher.
Yes. A couple of things. I also would like to echo the sentiments of Alderman Mann. Our emergency response team, police, fire, even Parks and Rec have kind of had their hands full, and as well as Public Works, obviously, with making sure that everything is in operating order and is safe for the community. And, you know, public safety is obviously a priority for this board. I know I don't speak alone on that, and for our city personnel. I know that there have been, you know, some icy conditions out there, and I've seen some complaints, but I would just like to take this opportunity to remind you that these guys have worked tirelessly, and I personally could not be more thankful for their service to the community. And those roads, hopefully in the next 24 to 48 hours, they should all be clear, and we'll be thankful for that. I have a comment for our honorary alderman. Something I have been involved with the past several years, and even Mr. Quick in his former tenure as THS principal can attest to, is getting out the vote. And if you're not already aware, I'm sure you guys are seniors. Are you seniors? No, you're not seniors. Okay. Neither one of you. Well, it doesn't mean you can't help with this. So here is, with the Mayor's Youth Council, I would love to see them be more actively involved. Prior to last year, they were involved in the voter drives that we would commonly hold, not just candidates, but potential individuals in the community who would try to get our young people involved in civic engagement. So if you aren't aware, there is an election coming around the corner, a primary election, and it is not too late for your seniors who are already 18 to get registered to vote. And we would love for you guys to maybe share some of that information, because it does affect, it would be pretty cool to still be in school and be able to vote for your city school board members while you're actively still in school. How cool would that be? And the deadline to register to vote is February 4th. If you would share that with your seniors, that would really be awesome. And early voting starts February 14th to February 28th. Something else, you can reach out to the Election Commission, and actually high school students, it said, there's a state law that says that you guys can actually volunteer to work as poll workers and learn about the election and get a day off of school. So that would be pretty cool to see if we can't talk to Mr. Andy Fair out at the Election Commission to get more of our young people civically involved. For the citizens and for you guys, there are several school board seats for the city and the county both, as well as the property assessor race and a county commission race in Manchester as well. So just wanted to tell the city and our Mayor's Youth Council about that. Mr. Mayor, that's all I have today.
Thank you. For our honorary alderman, each of the aldermen, as we go around the dais here, we have an opportunity to talk about what we've been concentrating on for the last couple of weeks before our last board meeting, since our last board meeting. And this time we'd like to give you an opportunity to talk about what's going on in your life, in your organizations at school. And Ms. Lindsay, we'll start with you.
Yes, so I'm in student council, Mayor's Youth Council, as she said. I am in Distinguished Young Women, which is like Junior Miss, formerly known as Junior Miss right now. That's February, I think the 24th is the date for that. And I'm an active member at the Presbyterian Church, First Presbyterian, but I go to the Church of Christ in Winchester Sundays. So that's what I personally do with my free time. But yeah, I am an AP student, so not a lot of time on my hands. So, but I enjoy my high school.
Since you're not a senior yet, you've not made any plans for college yet?
No, I've made loose plans. I really would like to go to Belmont University in Nashville and maybe major in social work or education there.
Anyway, well, congratulations on your future plans and good luck on those.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Henry, tell us about yourself and your things you're actively involved in.
Yes, sir. I am involved in FBLA. We are in the process of starting to work on our events for our conference, or the state leadership conference in April. So I'm excited about that because I genuinely enjoy learning about different business strategies and how they further the world. I am also in the jazz band at the high school, and I auditioned for the all mid-state bands, and I received 4th chair for saxophone. And so that is this weekend, so I'm also excited about that because I know that I've worked hard for it, and I feel that I am content with myself.
That can be a rewarding career as well as an avocation that you might pursue.
Yes, sir.
Continue. Well, thank you very much for your participation. And would you entertain any questions from the alderman?
No, sir.
I'd like to say, I'll see you Saturday. My nephew goes to Cascade, and he made that as well, so we'll be going up there to visit him, so I'm excited to get to see it. That's a huge achievement, be proud of it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, again, thank you very much for participating and being on the Mayor's Youth Council.
Yes, sir.
And with that, let me give you just a thumbnail sketch of what the mayor's been up to in the last couple of weeks. Of course, 2 weeks ago, we had the mayor's at the airport board meeting on the 9th. One of the highlights of the quarter is for me, certainly, it's the mayor's quarterly coordinating committee meeting. We had about 24 people there to talk about what's going on in the community. And that was a real highlight to how that meeting here, all the good things that are going on with different agencies. Also on Friday, last week, the TUA had a strategic planning meeting in Manchester, and we'll have part one of that last Friday, and then on a month from now, we'll have the second part of that to finish that up. So with that, that wraps up the reports from the Board of Mayor and Alderman. This time, I'd like to go to the city attorney for his report.
I'm working with my staff getting title searches ready to file the suits for the collection of the 2022 delinquent taxes. So anyone who owes them, you have until the end of February to pay them, or otherwise you'll pay penalty and interest and other costs. Secondly, I know you're excited about this. The Downtown Committee, Mr. J.P. Kraft, are about ready to bring to this board a proposal relative to the refiguration of all the downtown plantings. Mr. Kraft's made a lot of progress toward that, so very soon we'll be considering that for moving forward with that. I'm working on some other things with Mr. Quick that perhaps I'll either let him announce or we'll take him up at another meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. And our city attorney, Mr. Quick. Sam, just for,
Yeah, I was going to say, thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I want to say thank you to the two honorary aldermen here. They mentioned two programs that I am very proud that you're involved with. FBLA, which we've seen some outstanding students come through the FBLA program of late especially. So the fact that you're interested in business at such a young age says an awful lot. Distinguished young women, unbelievable program. I've seen that for the last 3 to 4 years and what they've been able to do with young ladies as far as helping them develop into the young women they're looking to become and pursuing careers. So I just want to say thank you both for doing that. That says a lot. Has been a very quiet week, Mayor. That was a joke. So I've got a report, but just to cover a few things here. At our last board meeting, you approved for us to go ahead and start the implementation to move from Rackspace over to Microsoft 365. Kenny Pearson has done an outstanding job working with these people, and we have now our 4 machines set up, so they're doing all the work behind the scenes now. So all of that is underway, and I'm really looking forward to getting that done in the course of the next 2 to 3 weeks. We had an implementation call with them right after the board meeting the next day. They laid out the plan. It sounds really great, and so far we've had no glitches, so I'm feel really good about that. Last week, Lisa Shepard and I met with John Grubbs, who is an MTAS consultant, and we're going over our personnel regs, making sure they're updated. They include all of the information that they're supposed to include from a state and federal perspective, but also then making sure that it matches what we're looking to do from a culture standpoint. We have another meeting coming up in the next month or so to go over that with them again, and hopefully that'll be something that we'll implement starting at the middle of March, end of March. Had a meeting with Coffee County Mayor Judd Matheny and Lynn Seaborn a couple of weeks ago, just talking about ways that the city of Tullahoma and Coffee County can work well together, make sure that communication lines are established. We were able to talk about a couple of issues that I'm looking to address along with them, and that was met with very open arms. So I look forward to bringing back hopefully some ideas of some things that we're exploring right now to work alongside Coffee County. Friday, I was able to attend my first CPM class, the Certified Public Manager class. 7 hours of a virtual class was a lot of fun. But no, it was very good, very informative, and I'm looking forward to having those classes where we meet in person once a month, and that's going to be, again, a 12-month program with a capstone project that I look forward to sharing with you once they allow us to start establishing that. But the capstone project is set up it has to address a current issue or need within the city government. And so I've got a lot of ideas on what I'm hoping that would look like. Let's move on to the last week. Last week, Snowmageddon, I've heard it called, and the Arctic chill. So let me give you kind of a rundown of what we were able to do. And I say we, really Butch Taylor, Chase Sons, Kenny Pearson led the effort in making sure that our streets and our roads were as safe as could possibly be. Beginning Sunday afternoon when we saw the weather coming in, we'd already made plans for salt to go down. Salt started going down on Sunday in anticipation of the weather. The weather comes in Sunday. Monday morning, I come up here and I meet with Chase for a little bit, and I go out on patrol to make sure I can understand what the road conditions look like, but also what we can do to try to help make things better. TDOT started doing plowing on our main thoroughfares, mainly Jackson Street and the Viaduct, West Lincoln. The challenge that we ran into is TDOT would plow and clear a street that street would be covered by about an hour or so later, which was something that we've rarely ever seen. I think 1993 was the last time we've seen something of this magnitude. So we spent an awful lot of time working on those main streets. One of the challenges that we had is we have two salt trucks. They each hold about a ton apiece of salt. And so while that sounds like a lot, a ton of salt doesn't go very far. So you'll have a lot of driving back and forth to our salt shed to pick up, go out, put down. And so their time out on the road actually being able to spread salt is greatly reduced. The issue that we had was the freezing rain that came in. And so, again, we continued to resalt. The issue that we had was the temperature being below 20 degrees. And salt that we have is not able to impact in any way. So we halted salting for a couple of days just because it wasn't going to hit above 20. The sun wasn't out, so we didn't want to waste those resources. We started salting our secondary roads and on Saturday, but temperature started to rise, so we started salting some of the secondary roads. Still maintained a focus on our main thoroughfares as well. We had over 708 man-hours dedicated to nothing but the roads, and that's just from Public Works, not including the multitude of people that we saw come in. Again, we had police officers who came in on their days off, didn't come in for any other reason other than to help with wrecks, help with other issues that were going on. We saw the same thing with Public Works as well. So what we were able to do, we started out with 225 tons of salt. We've already used 195 tons of salt. So we're down to about, 30 tons. We have already ordered 100 more tons of salt. We expect for that to be here tomorrow so we can replenish what we have, but also any additional salting that we need to do. We have, today we've been salting, again, all of the areas that we possibly can. We focused on the schools, trying to get within a block of the schools, especially all those areas to make sure that they're good. So in case schools do go back into session tomorrow, that we can hopefully have a better surface for them to walk on. I'm not sure what that melting looks like around the school. I did do a lot of driving around this afternoon to see where some of the continued issues are. If there are side streets where there's a shady area where sun can't get through, those continue to be an issue. So I want to encourage all of our citizens, make sure you continue to pay attention to the roads for the black ice and those kind of things. So we have 171 miles of road in Tullahoma that we're in charge of. And that 171 doesn't include any streets that are two-lane. So that really means we have more than 171 miles of road. What we have to deal with is we have 225 pounds of salt, or tons of salt. We have 2 snow trucks that will can take on a ton of salt to be spread each trip. And then we had 1 snowplow implement that was not operable. So that's the only resources that we have to take this on. So as we've all talked, and I want to say thank you to the board, first of all, for being available to me to answer any questions I have, but more importantly, continue to give us feedback on, hey, I heard this, I heard that, can you check into that? So I really appreciate that. But what we had really was something that a lot of people have commented has not occurred since 1993. And I don't know how many people can go back, but I have vivid memories of 93 and the freezing ice and the snow. So what came in is traditional snow, but then those temperatures dropped. And I'm used to, when it snows, you may have 20 degrees as the low, but it could be up to 30, 32, 34 degrees. Usually that snow or the temperatures will rise and the snow will go away. What we had were temperatures with wind chills in the negative or single digits that continued to come and go, come and go, come and go. So freeze, refreeze, freeze, refreeze. That's why our streets, in some cases, did not melt the way that they typically would. But in 93, again, if you'll go back and remember, that was 2 weeks of really tough times for all of us. One of the things that we're doing is we're doing that Monday morning quarterback now. What can we do to address this next time? And, obviously, The easy thing to try to do is to start throwing money at it. Well, let's go buy let's go buy trucks with snow plows, and let's go buy a bunch of equipment that we may or may not use. But we're going to look at every opportunity. We're looking at, can we purchase additional plow implements that will fit on the truck? And when I say fit on a truck, it's not as snap-on and let's roll. It takes Butch and his team an awful long time to, first of all, get the plow set up. But number two, which is something that has been a challenge, is the underseal, the sealing underneath, because when you start plowing and salt, all of that gets underneath the trucks, and so that really hurts the life of that truck and the service of that truck. So we're looking at that. I know Butch has mentioned that he has gone to places that do the hard bed liners, those kind of things, and they've sprayed underneath, and they've tried to do everything that they can. Part of the challenge is making sure that we have enough salt, which we did. We had more than enough salt to cover that. But do we need to purchase a truck that will spread 24 tons of salt at one time versus the one and back and forth? And then the other thing that I really want to look at is collaborating with Coffee County. And we've already reached out to them and said, hey, let's let everything settle. Let's get everything done. You start reviewing. We're going to start reviewing. But one of the things that I'm going to do is I want to go back and review what kind of services should we expect from Coffee County that we may not get, and just start going down that road with them. And I feel comfortable in talking with Judd Matheny and others that they're open to seeing what we're looking at. So that kind of gives you an idea of where we are. I believe schools are closed tomorrow. I just got a text. I want to say thank you to Sergeant Ruling for that. So schools are out tomorrow. My sincere hope is that they will definitely be in Wednesday. As a note of caution, we do have freezing rain over the course of the next 3 to 4. I say freezing rain. We have rain coming in. All of our highs are going to be above. Yeah, Butch just had a heart attack back there. What? No, all of the temperatures are going to be above freezing during the day, so we feel pretty good about that. And it's sometimes rain can even help with some of the ice. So we're going to keep a strong, vigilant watch over our roads. We know there are road issues. I'm very anxious to look at this resolution that's been put on the books by Alderman Berry that talks about our roads. But I also want to say thank you to Butch and to Chase and to Kenny for all that you do for us. I think action and attitude are always a reflection of leadership, and all I see are people that are really ready to work. And let me give you an example. Tuesday, nobody has to come in. City is closed down Tuesday. By the time I got here Tuesday morning, I bet there were 5 or 6 of Public Works people who didn't need to come. They came on just to help start clearing sidewalks and start moving some snow out of the way for the police department and for City Hall. And that just tells you the kind of heart our people have. So I just want to say thank you publicly to all of them. That's my report.
Okay, I have one question.
Yes.
I just out of curiosity, how much does 100 tons of salt cost?
100 tons of salt cost us 11,000, let me just say 11,500, because I know it's between 11 and 12, so 11,500 for 100 tons.
Okay, and just to say, I think you've done a great job, and I like the idea of reaching out to the county, but also, is there any way we could maybe get some individuals on backup in the community or in the surrounding communities who we potentially could outsource some of this to in the future?
So, exactly. So those are some things we want to look at. I can tell you that I did reach out to a private individual to do some work for us over at South Jackson Civic Center before the Friday night events that they had, and they came and did an outstanding job. You know, if we look at using private contractors, let's say for our side roads, one of the concerns that are on our side roads is our side roads aren't all smooth. You may have manhole covers sticking up. You may have other things that a private contractor may come in and you know, not meaning to, but go through and knock some of that stuff out. Those are things that we need to look at. And again, going back to this resolution, those are things as we go to review our roads, we need to look at what roads have what issues and ones that we could do that with and not. But that is something that's on our list also to look at is, are there private individuals out there that could do that?
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Wick. The only thing on the consent agenda tonight is the minutes from the January 8th meeting. We've got a motion from Barry, second from Mr. Wick. Any questions on the consent agenda? Ready to vote? Passes 7-0. We have the following items, item 2409, 2410, and 2411. All are from the police department. I'm going to ask if I could get the city recorder to read each of those captions. Save my voice.
Item number 2409, consider request from Tullahoma Police Department to authorize the purchase of 2 vehicles from Newton Ford South in Shelbyville, Tennessee, a 2022 Nissan Murano at the cost of $28,701 and a 2023 Nissan Frontier at the cost of $34,701.
Go ahead and read all. Just read all of them.
You want to do all? Okay. Item number 2410, consider request from Tullahoma Police Department to authorize the surplus of 1 inoperable Chevrolet Impala patrol vehicle. And item number 2411, consider request from the Tullahoma Police Department to authorize the purchase of 5 vehicles from Lonnie Cobb Ford, 2 2023 Ford Interceptor SUVs, and 3 2023 F-150 police responders, and the authorization for Lonnie Cobb Ford to upfit all 5 vehicles with emergency equipment and add a kennel to one of the F-150 trucks for the K-9 unit. Total cost of all 5 vehicles and upfitting is $271,379.
And before we get a motion on this, I'd like to just yield to the recognized city administrator to give us some background on these 3 items, if you could.
Let's do one at a time, please. Can we just do one at a time?
I think he's going to call on the acting chief to give us some background on all of them as a composite.
So one of the things that has been the focus, one of the things that has been the focus of not only myself, but also Sue Wilson and others within the finance department is making sure we have a handle on our assets before we go out and begin purchasing other vehicles. We need to make sure that we're managing our fleet properly, the maintenance is being done properly. I will tell you that Interim Chief Sons has done an outstanding job in that, where we've been able to do a lot of surplusing that was needed to be done. But also, what I'll tell you is this, I found that Chief Sons is a great negotiator, and he knows how to pinch a penny, which is really good. So as we were looking at this, Chief Sons and I sat down, and he was giving me all this great information about money that we're saving and how our drug task force money is being used. And I thought, instead of me sitting here and telling you that, I think the man that's been able to put all this together for us ought to do that. So I would like to ask Interim Chief Chase Sons if you'd come forward. On your desk, I've asked that he provide a copy pretty much of what he's going to be going off of, so you'll be able to go along with some of what he's talking about. But I just want him to be able to explain to you the thinking and the processes and why we're coming with this request.
Okay, concerning item 2409 with the Nissan Murano and the Nissan Frontier, that's going to be purchased out of the drug fund, which would come at no cost to the taxpayers of Tullahoma. That's money we already have set aside from seizures, so that money's been sitting in there for a while, and it's time we utilize it instead of going and asking for money from the taxpayers. That money's set aside on that. Does anyone have any questions on that one?
Yeah, I think we need to do one at a time, because we're going to have to vote on one at a time again. I just think, so I'll just say this for the public record too. At first glance, I was like, oh, we're buying a lot of vehicles again. We just bought a lot of vehicles. But I will say this, based on my understanding of the drug fund, and a lot of the citizens may not know this, the drug fund is not our general budget. And the drug fund, the way I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, we are simply rubber stamping what you want to do, Mr. Sons.
Yes, ma'am.
Because it actually is one of the things that's under your authority to determine how to spend those funds. We may ultimately get to say the check yes or no box, but we honestly don't really have a right to tell you how to spend those funds, so long as you are within the parameters of what those funds are to be used for. So if you think that that's what's best to do with those funds, I'm with you 100%.
Yes, ma'am. The purchase of these two vehicles are going to replace two 2010 Ford Explorers that we've had in rotation for 14 years now. So we've got as much use as we can get out of those vehicles.
If the board would like to take these one at a time, we can certainly do that. If you just indulge us to go ahead with our vote, and I believe we've got a motion from Barry and seconded from Wilson. Any questions about, for Mr. Sons? Now we're ready to vote on it. That vote passes 7-0. Might go into 2014.
Okay, this was one of the last Impalas. There'll still be three more that's in rotation because we're trying to get as much use as we can without having to replace them. This is one we're not going to be able to salvage, so it's just one more to add to the list. Like I said, there'll be three Impalas left after this. We're going to get as much use as we can before we try to surplus those.
It's a great car that would make a good car for someone if they bought it though, right?
He's threatened to give it to me as a city car.
I like that idea.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a motion from Barry, seconded from Wilson. Questions on that? Ready to vote? Passes 7-0. 2411.
Okay, 2411 was an item that was looked at back in August from the ARPA grant, and we were looking to purchase, I believe, 9 vehicles at the time. Due to the automotive strike, we couldn't find any vehicles. We've just now had to look up on these 5. We're still missing 1. However, that money is going to come from the American Plan Rescue Act, which again is money awarded to the city. It's come to no cost to the taxpayers of Tullahoma. That money has to be committed by 12/31/2024, or we have to give that money back. So with the 5 vehicles coming in at $271,379, it would still leave us with $125,885 left. Like I said, we're still looking at 1 vehicle we can't find, but that'll come to us whenever it's available. The question did come up whenever we first asked for this: were these vehicles just going to go to the SROs to sit in the parking lot for the majority of the time? The short answer to that is no. These vehicles would be used to replace patrol vehicles that serve our citizens for the majority of the time on the streets. The patrol units that are being replaced will be handed down to SROs, which they'll use to go to ball games and court or what have you. But the new vehicles will go out to patrol. They will be serving our citizens, and if we get these 5, we'll need 1 more, and our fleet system it will be up to date.
So we're not actually buying these for SROs, we're actually buying these for patrolmen. So I think I think it's better to say we're buying these for patrol.
Yes, ma'am.
And not for SRO. SRO is going to get the older vehicles. That makes a lot more sense.
Yes, ma'am. Primarily because they're sitting at the schools most of the time.
That is correct. And so they need to get the older vehicles, and we need to be replacing patrol units. And I do understand that some of our SROs still do some patrol as well. And I have encouraged Mr. Quick and to pass that along, that definitely Bedford County and Coffee County and some of the county schools really have a great handle on their SRO program, and we could definitely look at some of the things that they're doing and how they're managing their budgets, because they're doing a lot with a small amount of money. So I'm glad to see that was kind of corrected here, is that these are actually going to patrol.
Yes, sir.
If I may add, I know that if you look at this, that's 5 vehicles all of a sudden, but these are hot commodities, and if you don't get them now, everybody in the state of Tennessee and elsewhere, they're looking for these vehicles. One of the things that in the beginning, Chase came to me and said, hey, I have located a dealer, I've got a good relationship with him, and I think that we'll be able to get cars quicker through him than if we went other routes. So I think this is one of those where if we don't get them now, we may not get them later, or it could be, if you remember, we used to have, if I remember correctly, we would have times when it would be 12 to 18 months after an order that we would ever get these cars. The fact that Lonnie Cobb is able to go ahead and install all the emergency equipment is just another plus for us. And it was I was amazed at the 2 vehicles I've ridden in so far that are with the sergeants now. how soon we got them and got them in and on the patrol.
And this
Yeah, we
is-
got those back in 5 weeks, so.
This is ARP funds, correct? So like you said, we have to expend these by 2020, the end of 2024. We may not be able to find it again.
Very good. Any further questions?
I know, Jerry's gonna kill me. Two quick things. Since we are talking about the police, I forgot to give a shout out. You had submitted, I know why you're smiling, but you had submitted the Employee of the Month to Miss Rosie Barnes. She is an incredible asset to the city, and your last statement here, I'm proud to serve alongside Rosie and just want to thank her for her dedication, her hard work she demonstrates daily, and I think we all see that, so congratulations to her. And then separately, this is one heck of a birthday present here for you, Chief, right? Is it your birthday today?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, I saw that on Facebook. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
We'll let Daniel sing to you now.
Hey, I'll do it. You want Maryland style or?
Any further questions?
Go to commercial.
We got a motion from Barry, seconded by Mann. Ready to vote. It's approved 7-0.
Thank you, guys.
Moving down to item 2412. Thank you, Chief. Consider a request for approval of employment agreement with Jason Quick for the city administrator position. Need a motion?
No buttons.
Not yet.
Mr. Mayor?
I think we're trying to get a motion.
See it?
No.
Broke it. Well, I guess we'll have to skip it. Everybody's trying to be first.
Who's gonna win?
Let's try again.
Got a motion from Wilson, a second from Mathis. Hey, that's you want to introduce this motion? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. We hired Jason back in September. Well, hired him August, started in September, and during that time, I know I didn't vote for you. We'll just forget that happened. But I can't be more happy with the choice of the board. I think he has shown himself to be an incredible asset to the city of Tullahoma. From what I gather from walking around City Hall and talking to staff, and it's just, you walk into City Hall and there's laughter and smiles, and it's just a whole new atmosphere. I know that sometimes there may be drama on television, but our city is firing on all cylinders right now, and it's just, I can't be more happy. And I think that it's time we ink it, and it's already permanent, but let's ink it and make it permanent and get him taken care of.
Man, you're recognized.
So I've been here exactly 1 year, and of all the votes I've made in that 1 year, the one I'm the most proud of is the vote for Jason Quick to be our city administrator. He's done a phenomenal job. He's surpassed all expectations. I have spoken with multiple city employees and department heads in the past 2 weeks that have reached out on their own to endorse Jason, to talk about the great job he's done. And I appreciate everything he's doing. I'm excited about what he's going to be doing, and I'm very proud to cast my vote in favor of this this evening.
Mr. Mayor, if I might please. I helped draft this contract. It's patterned along the contract that we previously had with the last city administrator, and I'd like to echo what both Mr. Berry and Mr. Mann have said about working with him. It's been a pleasure to work with him. I look forward to our meetings. I think this contract is fair. I think that it does, we did eliminate some things that were in the other one that didn't seem to be unfair to the city, and I recommend that you approve this contract.
Thank you. City Administrator, do you have any comments that you'd like to make regarding this contract? How it may be alike or different from previous contracts?
I just, I appreciate the kind words and all that, but I think what it really boils down to is it's a reflection of the people that you already had here before I arrived. The city of Tullahoma is blessed to have the leadership that it has at the department level, but it's also blessed to have people at all levels who are so committed to the city and serving the citizens. I'm just fortunate enough to be a part of it and to just be there to support them and provide whatever leadership and guidance they need in order to do their job to the best. I would like to say thank you to the board. You guys have been tremendous to work with, and I really enjoy listening to you and hearing your visions for what Tullahoma could look like. And I just want to say thank you for this has been an incredible experience for me, and I'm looking forward to many, many years of us working together and doing what's best for the city of Tullahoma.
Alderman Hamaker, you're recognized.
Yes, I'd like to thank Mr. Quick for all of his hard work. I am too very proud of the vote that I cast. I will say I've been a little bit of the naysayer about having a contract for the city administrator position, only because, it is an at-will employment state, and he is, an employee, not a contractor, and I believe having a contract does kind of muddy the waters from a legal perspective. I will say this, with the role that he has to play and all of the responsibilities, I too would kind of want to know that I am, somewhat protected if I were to make a decision or something that not everybody on this board agreed with. And so I get that as well. I would like to make an amendment to the contract. Obviously, he would have to approve of such amendment, but if everybody would take a look at page 60. Section 8 is about termination and severance pay. It was also, sent out to us, and I did it. I did not turn it in. I haven't been anywhere to turn it in, and do not feel like it is proper to turn in a performance evaluation to Hannah Rogers with MTAS. I believe those should be done in-house. They have nothing to do with MTAS. But I do think that we ought to be regularly in contact, and there should be a formal performance evaluation. I was not aware, I didn't know that we set that we were going to do a performance evaluation after 90 days. We did say we were going to discuss a contract at that time. But those performance evaluations, according to state law, should be given to him in an open public meeting, and we should discuss any deficiencies. Unfortunately, he should have the right to see every individual performance evaluation that we give, not just a collective score that somebody has subjectively created. We need to give those to him individually, and not so that we can tell him everything he's doing wrong, but to say, here's what we're doing great, here's what we can improve on, and I think we could do those, regularly, individually, and that should kind of be an expectation. However, because of the subjectivity and the bias of potential this board or future boards, I do see the need in having a contract now. Look at page 60 where it says, in the event the employee fails to fulfill his duties, responsibilities, and obligations as directed by the city board and as established by the municipal code, employee shall be advised in writing of such as per the notice requirements of this agreement. The notice shall include the responsibilities and duties at which the employee has failed to perform. So what we aren't saying is here is, are we individually going to be able to give him notice? Are we, the mayor, able to give him a notice? Are we, the board, going to give him notice? And who has the authority to do such? So I would like to clean this up just a little bit, and that notice is to be given in the form of a performance evaluation conducted biannually, because that is the turn of every board. So essentially biannually, prior to the next board coming in, we can say, here's what our guy does great, here's what he stands to improve on. And I think that that could be very useful, not only for Mr. Quick, but also for potential changes in leadership on this board. So not annually, but biannually. So I would like to add another caveat onto that paragraph that said, such notice shall be given by a formal performance evaluation from individual members of the body.
Early termination.
On page 60.
60, what's the letter?
It's I'm kind of adding to this paragraph right here.
Oh, okay.
Like it's the beginning paragraph, just saying how the notice is to be given in writing.
Are you going to add that right after the first paragraph
We're
is
not
on
changing it
my...
on performance evaluation.
Well,
Biannually.
yeah, I mean, you probably need to change it in both places, yeah, but I was just saying that
Biannually mean once every
the
2
reason
years.
that I said I think we need to put it here is because on A, it talks about the correction of deficiencies. So if we're telling him how much time he has to correct deficiencies here, then this is just alluding back to that performance evaluation, in other words.
All right, I suggest we put it up right at the end, the very first paragraph before A, and if Ms. Ashley will get this, and I'll look at it, we'll incorporate that in the contract if this passes.
Yeah, I'm okay with it being put or changed wherever, any language that is not consistent with this would also need to be changed, in other words. But the only reason I was putting it where I was putting it is only because how does he correct the deficiency and who can give him the notice? This is how you get the formal notice, and this is how you correct the formal deficiency. As we were discussing a little bit earlier as a group, and I don't mind talking about this because this is just, good business practices. You always need to have documentation of those, not just, a letter here, an email, but a formal document saying, here are the consistent things that you've done well and not done well. And considering how much, this individual does, and it's a large-scale job, almost, I believe that he will probably need to do department heads annually, and that might be a thing, but for him, I think biannually is plenty to do that formal performance evaluation.
Twice a year?
No,
It's biennial. Is that twice a year or once every 2 years?
once every 2 years.
I think it should be every year.
I think it should be every year.
Every single year.
The only reason I said once every 2 years is because that's right before the board changes, potentially.
But
Well,
every-
one of the times would be.
Yeah, mhm.
Yeah.
So,
Just
do them every year,
One
yeah.
of the points, good point you're making, but when you do a performance evaluation, if there are deficiencies, there need to be an opportunity to correct those deficiencies. If it's only done every 2 years before the next election, you don't get that opportunity.
He may not get that opportunity, that is correct. So, I'm fine with it being annually, that's fine. But I just think that that needs to be stated there, that there will be a formal performance evaluation that is to be conducted, not, I would not put it, not including MTAS, but it should be conducted in-house by this board and be given to him formally at a public meeting. We don't necessarily have to read his scores out loud, but I think we should give that direction in a formal meeting.
So page 61, section 10 is about the performance evaluation. So instead of making those changes there, the very next page, on the back of what you were looking at, it said, the city board may review and evaluate performance of the employee. I don't think it says may. I think I would make an amendment, and sorry, we should have done this. The city board shall, in section 10A, I'll amend that we say the city board shall review and evaluate the performance of the employee and take out at least. Well, no, at least is fine, because then if we want to do it twice, we can. In advance of the adoption of the annual operating budget, said review and evaluation shall be in accordance with the specific criteria developed by the city board. Now, we could pass a separate pause the amendment. We could pass a separate resolution stating that that happens, or make it part of our ordinances, if you want to make it more difficult, saying that that happens in public in the way that you want there. But that leaves us open, we could throw that on the very next agenda, how we want that to be performed. Said criteria may be adjusted, amended from time to time in consultation with the employee.
Well,
So
and
that
if you
would be
look, I don't
mine,
like
is
the
let's
last
change-
sentence either, because, again, the mayor is not, in the city of Manchester and other cities, the mayor would be the, Mr. Quick's boss. However, in our, the mayor has no more authority necessarily.
So in
It's the
that
entire
amendment,
board.
in that amendment, I'd say let's change section 10A, the city board shall, there's
Mm-hmm.
one, and then continue down to the last sentence and say further, the city, cross mayor, and say the city board
Mm-hmm.
shall provide employee with the opportunity.
And I think that that's saying that we need to give it to him in a public meeting, in other words, and give him the opportunity to
I think we can
say.
draft that in the, let's develop some criteria and put it in an ordinance, and that
Yeah.
way it's.
So the only thing, just to piggyback, go back to that other page, I agree with you, it needs to be changed there. But when we say that we're giving him notice in writing, to me, that could mean, well, Bobby didn't like what he did, and she sent him an email, and he didn't respond or change it in 30 days, so she wants to bring a resolution forward to, I feel like that gets too messy too quick. I think it needs to be, the writing needs to come from, after we give his performance evaluation, in other words, he has 30 days to correct any deficiencies from that performance evaluation.
I mean, no, I would like the opportunity at any time, say we did the performance evaluation in June, but say we get to October, and I'm not saying that you would, I don't want to wait until the next evaluation. I want to be able to give you notice and say, here, as a board, I can't, right? Now, I would I would put an item on the agenda, because we can't do anything to the city administrator without the board, right? So it doesn't matter what we individually think. We individually can make an item on the agenda, say, here's corrective action, here's notice that we want to give. The board would say together, yes or no. If that passes, then we send him, all that's in there, and then we take corrective action as needed at that point. But I would hate to limit it to once a year evaluations, like, we may get into.
Well, absolutely, I agree with you on that. I think we have been in that situation previously and
Yeah.
didn't know how to handle any type of corrective action.
Yeah.
That's why I just like.
I think that covers that, though.
I-
Is.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. So I would, that amendment on 10, I'd like to make that amendment, the city board shall, and then
both of these amendments, or just one?
just one.
Just make one, and I'll make the motion, and Daniel can second.
Section 10A, the city board shall.
Hold on. So we're changing may
To shall. And then the last sentence, further the strike mayor and substitute the city board.
So one quick thing, look at B. So it says annually, the city board and employees shall define goals and objectives and performance objectives. So this is, I think, where we give him the evaluation tool well before he ever receives an evaluation. I think he needs to know what the expectation is very clearly, not just in his contract. So, I believe that, this annually, it needs to be said that the city board and employee, it says shall define such goals and objectives and performance objectives. Should we maybe set, like, how that's to be done?
I think we could do that by an ordinance. This is just laying out, and it gives us the ability to change that as needed by our policies. But this is just saying, we're going to do it. And we failed to, right? Like, if any employee, all of my employees, we have one-on-ones every week, or my staff, where we talk about your goals, we talk about your objectives, monthly we evaluate those, we talk about your career paths. That's just being a manager. And we need to do our part to help him succeed, and that's by, because you're right, it's difficult for somebody to fail at expectations if we never set those expectations. So I do think 100% you're there. But I think that we can set that in, you know.
Yeah, I think that the section B, where we're setting the goals and objectives, you could do that right after you do the evaluation. The evaluation would be for the previous year, and then at that same meeting, you could set the goals and objectives for the following year, and then that's what he'd be evaluated on at the end of that year.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Do we want to say,
Yeah.
I like the way you said that. That's kind of what I was thinking too. Do we kind of want to say that's how that's to be done, just to clean it up?
I don't know that we need to in the contract. We could,
Yeah.
yeah,
Let's set policy.
we could set policy and.
But as good management practice, you don't wait until, to tell him what a deficiency is until the evaluation period. You do that as it occurs.
Right.
And
And it even,
an opportunity to talk about how we corrected those deficiencies at your evaluation period.
and it even states that here, it says said criteria may be adjusted or amended by the city board from time to time.
Yeah, it's covered.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of our job up here is we should be doing goals and objectives for the city as a whole, right? Like, we should have that every year. We should sit down and say, here's our resolutions for the year that we want to get done and have goals and objectives, because that's what he's supposed to achieve. And so, I mean, we need to do our job.
Okay, we have an amendment made by Alderman Hamacher, seconded by Alderman Berry. Any further discussion? We're ready to vote on that amendment. Amendment passes 7-0. Now we're ready to vote on the motion as amended. Alderman Glick, you recognize?
I just wanted to, I didn't have a chance, I just wanted to say how happy I am with Jason's performance, and I'd like to thank all the citizens that tirelessly reached out to us during the process to alert us to the opportunity we had at such a great individual to hire for the job. So I'm glad he was resurrected from the ashes there, so.
Okay, now we're ready to vote on the motion as amended. We're ready to vote. Passes 7-0. Resolution number 1976, resolution authorizing and committing to the development of a strategic road infrastructure maintenance and the enhancement plan for the safety, economic health, and quality of life for citizens. Motion from Berry, seconded by Mathis. From Berry, you present that motion.
Yep. I can't be more excited to get this on here. And this is, partially, not partially, this board has got us and, moved us in this direction. And then Mr. Quick and Butch, the leadership from the staff, it's long overdue. And I think that we all know that. It's probably the number one thing that we hear all the time. And I understand, as it's been said before, roads don't get votes, but they sure do beat the heck out of your vehicle and your body and damage. And it's the most visible thing that you see where your tax dollars are going, right? And I'm always quick to point out when somebody says to me something about public works and not doing their job, because that's just not true. They do an incredible, as do all the departments, they do an incredible job with the resources and the direction that we give them. And so when there is a failure in any form of city government, no matter which department it is, it's because a board, right, has not done their job. And this is something that I know everyone sitting up here has been fighting for, and I'm proud to be a part of a team that is taking these kinds of things seriously. And I won't go any further on that, but I mean, it's just, the overall goal of this is to kind of take inventory of what all we have out there and to give them the time and the resources that he needs to go out and find where we have manholes above ground, to find where we have the issues from the street cuts, which are those dips in the road that are just killing every part of your body and your vehicle, to go out and take that inventory and then take an iterative approach, a strategic approach to fixing those, laying that out over a 15, 20-year period and saying, we as a city are dedicated to fixing this problem, not all at once, right? Because I think that's what we try to do a lot of times, is we try to take on this incredibly large scope, and it's just impossible to do that. And so, you know, we are going to be strategic in this. One is through that comprehensive assessment, strategic implementation schedule piece, and actually a financial plan to actually pay for this and work that into our city budgets and ensure that that money is always there, and we've committed to you guys that we take this seriously. I am going to make an amendment that I can't claim as my own, right? It's a suggestion of a board member here, Mr. Glick, who he's just as passionate on this piece as everyone else up here. So I've wrote it down, so I'll hand it to you. But I want to add a number 4 here to develop a comprehensive road paving standard. And I'll send this to you if you can read my writing. But the text for that would be commit to establishing and enforcing a comprehensive road paving standard, ensuring durable and safe standards for all public roads with periodic reviews and updates to align with community needs and advancements in paving technology and techniques, to be amended by the board as needed and when changed.
We have an amendment to the motion.
Sorry. I tried to think of everything, but I didn't.
I'm going to put it on here as an attachment provided by Alderman Berry. So I think is that okay with it?
That works.
Alderman Glick, you're recognized.
Well, I think this is a great plan. This is exactly the kind of thing this board ought to be doing, and I think it is a perfect bookend with the street cut plan that we just passed. I think these two things together are the best things that have been done in a long time to ensure good streets for Tullahoma. If you don't have a plan, you're always going to fail, and I think this is giving the city a plan and a standard to set. I did give the street repair standard suggestion to Daniel to go along with his good plan he already had made. He finished the wording for me there, but I had to send it through the AI, I guess. But I just wanted to say that my idea there was kind of like the street cut plan had standards to how the street cut was supposed to be repaired, pretty specific standards. So I think that document could be something prepared by Public Works along with the engineers, and then added as an addendum to this resolution, and it could be approved then updated from time to time. So I think that these things are good. And then I will say one more thing about this board. You may hear a lot of things or people saying the board's dysfunctional or whatever, and it is not. This board functions very well. I think we've got a lot of good things done. We don't agree on everything. Boards aren't supposed to agree on everything. I think a board would be dysfunctional if there's a 7-0 vote every time. That's a dysfunctional board. So I think this board has done a very good job of working toward the interests of the people of Tullahoma.
Alderman Almacher, you recognize?
Yes, so in the beginning where it says infrastructure maintenance and enhancement plan, I agree that this is needed. Kind of later on, it just basically talks about the enhancement plan down here, develop of a comprehensive road infrastructure enhancement plan, but the maintenance part is just as important as making it better, in other words. And like we were talking about earlier, the unforeseen and unintentional consequences of being less than prepared at times have cost us a lot of time, money, and headache for our community members. I would like to see also in this plan, this is a good opportunity to do what we were talking about earlier, Mr. Quick talking about the county and their involvement as well, because our roads, even though they may be located in the city, they are no less the responsibility of, for as far as maintenance and safety of the county. And, from a safety perspective, or from when we have a bad storm, or there's something that happens that like what we've seen, in the last, 2 weeks, I would like to see that kind of become a part of this. Obviously, we don't need to change the wording in this, but that's kind of my expectation, is the maintenance. Also, past something like this, if you look at, y'all, I was driving down 840 coming back from Mississippi, and 40, right before you get to 840 over on the Memphis side, there was car after car after car off the side of the road because of potholes in the road, because the salt and the snow and the wear and the tear. What we don't realize too is, even though we're combating the ice and the snow, when we put those things down on the road, it can eat at the top layer of the road as well, and cause the solution in the pavement to break apart, and that causes the potholes. So I would expect, Tullahoma, that we will see some ramifications from our treatment of the roads, not just if we were to outsource and somebody hit, a utility top there, but also that, we're going to see some potholes and things just from all the snow and the weather and the things that we've had here recently. And so this is something that we need to have in place for those times when roads just don't hold up like we think that they should because of the weather and the elements.
Alderman Berry, you're recognized.
Yeah, and I'll just read this one part in the actual resolution itself, because I kind of missed probably the best parts of it. Was on 66. The plan will encompass a comprehensive road assessment to document the current condition of all roads and identify areas of critical need. A strategic implementation schedule outlining a timeline for both short-term repairs and long-term road maintenance and improvements. A detailed financial plan establishing a financial strategy, including budget allocations, potential funding sources, and cost estimates for the plan's implementation. And so that you're 100% right, is we've got to not only look forward, but we got to fix what we got first. And that was kind of the goal here, is instead of trying to take it all at one time, year one, we're going to do this, year two, we're going to do this, and let's force there to be funding for that. So that.
I just think that's it's just a smart way to do things. That's the way you do, the way that I always try to make decisions for the city is the way that I would do them for myself. And there's a lot of things I need to fix on my house. I don't just go try to throw everything at it and do everything at once. You have a plan. What's the most important thing to fix? What do I have the money to do now? And you come up with a budget and a plan and a schedule, and that's exactly the way we need to do with the city's funds.
Very good. Any further discussion? We're ready to vote on the amendment adding item number 4. That amendment is added, 7-0. Now we're ready to vote on the original motion as amended. Ready to vote. And that passes 7-0 as well. Ordinance number 1621. An ordinance to amend the zoning map of the city of Tullahoma set forth in Tullahoma Municipal Code to rezone parcel located at 600 East Deckard Street from general commercial C2 to neighborhood commercial C3. Details of that in your packet under the beer board. We have on the item Any public comments from the Beer Board? Hearing none, we'll move into the consent agenda. Consent agenda for simply the minutes from the January the 8th, 2024. From Barry and Mathis, and Mann. Ready to vote. That passes 7-0. There be no other unfinished business, and there be no other new business. Beer Board will be adjourned. With that, we'll take a